Hi guys, I'm Pavelko from FxPro. Today we have a very interesting and important topic dedicated specifically to your trading education. Quite literally today we will be talking about how to separate the wheat from the chaff. In other words, how to accurately determine whether the expert you want to learn from, the person teaching you the art of trading or perhaps selling you a specific trading signal or market scenario, is truly worth it and actually deserves your hard-earned money. And how not to fall into the typical traps, of which there are an enormous number these days. I would say that the vast majority, roughly 9 out of 10 experts you see on Telegram, YouTube, and other social networks are completely and utterly not worth paying anything to, and certainly not worth following their advice. In today's brief introductory video, I will show you what the current education industry actually looks like today and how to choose a person, there really are quite a few of them, whom you can collaborate with effectively and who can truly teach you something and genuinely help you with something. As I already mentioned today, because we live in the age of social networks, a staggering and overwhelming number of people have emerged and come to the surface who have never traded or have only traded on demo accounts, who do not actually trade in the real markets, and who basically show off some of their so-called results and an entirely fabricated and artificial lifestyle. This is particularly and incredibly popular in the field of cryptocurrency, where you see all of these various traders. You can see them on Instagram with rented cars in Dubai, with fake Rolexes, and so on and so forth. That is, people who are merely trying to create an illusion of wealth, an illusion of some kind of super success, which naturally ends up influencing your decisions. These are people who have entirely fraudulent results, results that are completely manufactured, results made on demo accounts that you have absolutely no way of ever verifying, right? These accounts are not connected to any monitoring services. There are also people who copy other people's strategies. That happens too. For example, scammers copied my Telegram channel and are still running it, despite my complaints to Telegram and the complaints of a huge number of my clients to Telegram. That channel still exists to this day. It strongly encourages people to subscribe somewhere to some brokerage company, but nevertheless. So there is a massive quantity of this, a massive quantity all over the place. And the one and only thing that truly gives these people away to the public is their very aggressive marketing. You can see how it all unfolds, like huge advertising budgets, social media accounts pumped up with followers, artificially inflated likes and comments, and so on and so forth in a continuous cycle. Basically, all of this is very obvious. And you could say that modern education, so-called education, is really structured in such a way just to sell you something, not to actually teach you anything. Keep in mind this phrase because, well, that is exactly the kind of times we're living in. What is the absolute greatest illusion that they sell you? Because modern people, due to the fact that they are genuinely extremely busy, we live in a very fast-paced era, and today's world demands very quick and easy solutions. That is, we know, yes, that we live in the age of some kind of online education. Everyone wants to learn something quickly. Today, it's kind of unnecessary to go to university to become a programmer, or you don't have to spend 5 years at university to become some kind of SMM manager, right? You can learn a profession in 3, 5, or 6 months and earn pretty good money. So today is a time of quick, comprehensive solutions. And it's precisely because of this that such people sell you this illusion of a comprehensive solution. And here's exactly what they tell you. This is incredibly easy money. I really love those advertisements where these professional traders talk about their successful students, like their students are busy moms on maternity leave, feeding a baby with one hand and actively trading with the other. It all seems to happen very easily, effortlessly, just like that. But in practice, what happens is that easy money turns into the realization that trading is something that requires skills. In other words, it's a skill that needs to be developed. So it's not some overnight fix. No, it is a skill that you have to practice and develop for months and even years. And this realization doesn't come immediately. It comes naturally after a certain period of time. And as a rule, after losses, then you're told that this strategy is very simple. At first glance, there's nothing easier, just do it. But in practice, it turns out that this also requires a significant amount of time, right? This is essentially a continuation of the first slide. Trading is a skill. It needs to be developed. You need to learn it, and it takes time. And naturally, no one is willing to accept this because, I repeat once again, everyone is looking for the red pill. People are willing to pay for it, sometimes pay a lot. They want easy and quick money, then you're told, just copy the signals. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to learn anything. Just copy what I do. But in reality, it turns out that this requires discipline. By the way, here's a very interesting point. In the context of various topics in my educational videos, I talk a lot about trading psychology. I state, and I will continue to state, that trading psychology and your mindset are the most important things in trading, period. In other words, nothing can possibly be more important than this. Because even if you have the most profitable trading system, and even if you have the best trading signals, you might still enter the market too early, exit too late, enter too late, or not enter at all, or not exit at all. In other words, even with these signals and strategies, you can easily end up doing a lot of things you really shouldn't do. What does a typical trap look like? Let's talk a little about what this looks like from the outside. You'll be able to recognize it easily. Well, first of all, the first thing to pay attention to is that the person has no track record at all. In other words, the person who's selling you something only has some kind of track record in an Excel file somewhere. That is, you don't see a single statement. That is, most people who sell trading signals, just take a look. There are no statements at all. For example, when I launched my online product called Trading Behind the Glass, I had a whole year of verified statements where I traded based on my own signals, which yielded 70% annual returns. For example, I have never seen anything quite like that from anyone else, because nobody else does it, since nobody actually trades their own signals. Second, there are virtually no detailed discussions about risk management, even though risk is the most important factor. In other words, the most important thing in trading is risk. Because when you link your account, let's say, as someone who manages money, for example, I connect directly to trading signals. It's in my own interest to tell him that I recommend trading with a 1% risk, not with 10% or 5%, right? Because otherwise he'll just lose everything since he doesn't know this. Moving on. The focus is only on entries. That is, when there is no concept of exits, no trade management, just some trading signals, entries you enter, and then, well, whatever happens, happens. And there is always this specific thing. Yes, a supposedly 100% working system. You have probably seen those ads in Telegram channels, right? That exact kind of advertisement where there is just a chart like this and it says something like thousands of percent that our bot has already earned, our trading robot has made. Go ahead and buy signals for $20 and you'll become just as rich. Naturally, the question arises, if your robot is making thousands of percent, why aren't you becoming a millionaire or a billionaire, right? At the very least, why don't you borrow $1,000 from your relatives and turn it into 100,000 in a year, right? But somehow that's not interesting. So it is important to remember that professionals always discuss and analyze their mistakes and losses about as much as they talk about their take profits, right? Because that is an integral part of the daily routine of the profession. These occurrences take place on a daily basis. What does real expertise look like? Let's take a look at what the work of a person, a trader, who is worth trusting actually looks like. Well, first of all, professionals always explain the logic, not just the entry point. In other words, it's never just a signal like, buy the euro, here's the stop, here's the exit, right? A professional will explain why they're doing it. That is, within the framework of which model, why they're not doing something, why they're placing the stop here, why they're exiting at this point. Next, professionals always show they're losing trades. Professionals always focus on risk first and foremost. That's what I've been telling you, because exceeding risk limits, as you know from my previous videos, is the main reason why traders lose their money. True professionals always, in their very essence, even if they do so unintentionally, work to build your own independence from them. The fundamental point is that a real professional gives you a fishing rod and teaches you how to use it yourself. In other words, they don't just give you signals, they actually teach you. And their goal, essentially, is for a person to be able to trade without them. Yes, only a small percentage will achieve this, because most people still need someone nearby to explain what to do. But true professionals, naturally, let's say, both implicitly and unconsciously, work to foster your long-term independence. So please remember, a person who can truly teach you something valuable, someone who, for example, provides you with trading signals or sells you detailed market analytics, their ultimate goal is to teach you exactly how to think for yourself, rather than trying to turn you into a dependent, lifelong client. Yes, there are such traders, and there are quite a few of them. And so, throughout the course of this video, I think I have clearly demonstrated exactly what a reliable, high-quality product that you can fully trust and rely on should truly look like in every way. Naturally, to sum up and add to that, if you, for example, are buying trading signals from someone, friends, the first thing you should look for is a statement. Ideally, there should be monitoring on independent monitoring platforms like MyFxBook. There are plenty of monitoring services where you can see which account is being traded, whether it's real or demo, what the account statistics are, and so on and so forth. This is extremely, extremely important. That's all for today. I'll see you in the next videos. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Have a great day. Bye.